Sytch, S-Y-T-C-H.
What's your first name?
Tammy.
Okay, what's your middle name?
Lynn.
And what's your date of birth?
12/7/72. Dry.
I have water in my back.
All right.
Here you go.
Well, we couldn't catch up to this before, and I do apologize for that, but we're now catching up to these stories. I guess there's so much breaking stuff. I mean, one of the big things out there is the JD trial, which basically we should have, by the time you see this video, we'll probably have a verdict, or the jury is still deliberating to the situation. And I hope it comes out for them. But either way, JD still wins out on that. But and I said his ex is someone who basically is, can't get out of her own way. And you could see that. You could see that from the testimony and stuff like that. Another person that couldn't get out of their way, and you know the story that we know, we're updating here, and we've talked about it before. Former WWE Hall of Famer Tammy Sytch. Basically, she's in trouble. She's been being charged with manslaughter for crashing and killing Julian LaFrancis Lassiter, age 75. And not only that, in New Jersey, Tammy's got some charges, some DUI charges up there, and driving without a license and all that. And from what I understand now, back down in Florida, her bond has been revoked. And she's now incarcerated till the trial. Read a little bit. This is out of the Daytona Beach News Journal. A judge ordered the WWE Hall of Famer Tammy Sytch to be jailed while she awaits trial on a charge of drunk driving causing the death, and agreeing with prosecutors that Sytch posed a threat to the community because of her repeated instances of driving while intoxicated. And see, this is folks and kids out there, that the youngs that are watching, and I know there's some people of the young teenage years that do catch my show every once in a while. People, when you repeat stuff like this is what the law is supposed to do. They're supposed to lock you away when you become a danger to the community and many other communities. You have to understand, she's continuing to do this. She's not stopping driving, even though her license is revoked. Sytch, who did not testify during a bond hearing, and this is like about 2 weeks ago, Friday morning, hugged her fiance and then was handcuffed before briefly speaking to her attorney and being led away. Ormond Beach police said that on March 25th, Sytch's vehicle failed to stop and crashed into the back of a stopped car at the intersection of US 1 and Granada Boulevard, leading to the death of Julian LaFrancis Lassiter, age 75. Sytch had a blood alcohol content of 0.280, which is about 3.5 times the legal limit of 0.08 set by Florida law. This law has been on the books for a long time, even when I was down in the 90s, down in Florida. And they enforce it. They really, truly enforce it down in Florida. A Florida Department of Law Enforcement analyst testified Friday that in addition to the alcohol, Sytch's blood level detected THC, which indicated she has been smoking or consuming marijuana sometimes before the crash. And an Ormond Beach police officer testified that the officers found an unsealed bottle of Grey Goose vodka in the front passenger floorboard of the vehicle at the time of the crash. Circuit Judge Karen Foxman noted that Sytch had a bottle of vodka in the car and later admitted to drinking the vodka earlier that night. Sytch defense attorney Stephen De La Roche had asked the judge to allow Sytch to remain free, but required her to wear an anchor monitor with an alcohol sensor. The defendant is a threat to the community, and I do not feel that the monitor will protect the community. It is too easy to evade, Foxman said, ordering Sytch to be jailed pending trial. Assistant State Attorney Ashley Terwilliger, no relation, had an argue that Sytch was a threat to the community. Nothing. She was arrested in New Jersey in February on charges of driving under the influence and driving with a suspended or revoked license. She said Sytch also was arrested in January in New Jersey on a restraining order violation related to domestic violence. I mean, she gets into her own way. You know, she just can't stand out of her own way on there. Under the questioning by Terwilliger, an Ormond police officer testified that on May 5th, Daytona Beach police found Sytch apparently intoxicated on the sidewalk outside Robbie O'Connor's pub at 550 Seabreeze Boulevard. She was taken to the hospital for evaluation. The next day, she was arrested in the fatal crash of Ormond Beach. Sytch was taken in custody May 6th at the Hard Rock Hotel in Daytona. The state attorney's office has formally charged her with 1 count of DUI, causing the death of 1 count of driving with a suspended revoked license, counting deaths, serious injury, 4 counts of DUI with damage to a person, 2 counts of DUI with damaged property, according to the documents filed on Friday. The charges add up to a potential of 26 years in prison. And this is, she's done. She's really done. You know, you kind of, you know, feel sorry for her, but I mean, she just did it to herself. If convicted on all counts, with the sentence running consecutively. And, you know, the thing is that, you know, she's had a ton of other offenses. 2015, Carbon County, Pennsylvania. She was arrested on several charges, including driving under the influence, driving with a license suspended or revoked, careless driving, according to the motion. The Sytch had a blood alcohol level of 2.53. I mean, that's 3 times the legal limit in Pennsylvania. I mean, this is, you know, June 1st, 2015, she was arrested on charges including drunk driving under the influence. Again, 0.300. That's almost 4 times. That's like three quarters the limit on there. June 2015, she was under the influence. Her content was 0.78 on that. December 17th, 2015, she pleaded guilty 3 counts of DUI in Pennsylvania on a BAC of 0.2 or greater in Pennsylvania. She was sentenced to probation, but on 2016, she violated probation on that, and she was sentenced on 2017 to prison. By the time we reach to today, she's never had a valid Florida license. Her license is from Pennsylvania, and that's suspended as well. It's actually revoked at this point. You know, this happens. I mean, I am surprised if they haven't yet, and I heard they might have already, that literally that, you know, they just, WWE is just basically starting to step away from her on that. I mean, there are those out there, I mean, her peers that are at, you know, they said that she should be removed from the WWE Hall of Fame, and I have to agree.
And DUI manslaughter means you don't get a pedestal. It's time we set the parameters again for what's right and wrong. But after 7 times making the same decision over and over again, this is no accident.
I have to truly agree. I mean, they've done this before with other WWE stars, and it is true. This is the shit that goes down. You know, and you hear the stories. You know, when you saw that series that was on Vice, the Dark Side of Wrestling. You know, this is the shit that goes down. You know, people think wrestling's all this glamorous things, and they see as successful as The Rock and John Cena. But there are those who've fallen through the cracks that, you know, that have gone into drug abuse, alcohol, murder. I mean, they're the whole list. You know, I recommend watching the Dark Side of Wrestling on Vice. I don't know if it's going to get another season on that. It should get another season on that because there's so much they could still tell. You know, there is so many stories in wrestling history, you know, and they should be told. It should be really, truly told. So we'll see what happens with this. And like I said, she's going away for a long time. Death, you know, it gets to the point where, you know, when you kill somebody, you know, that's it. You're done. You know, your life is done. Goodbye. Close the door behind you. Don't let the door hit you in the ass. And that's all she wrote.